Trent, you opened the season with a win. I'm sure that you would have this week found some room for improvement, though.
Yeah, always. I thought good start, good to be at home, get on the front foot like we did. I think Des would even say that Manly weren't at their best last week, so as we all do, we want to get going and improve again this week.
What areas are you looking to improve?
Oh, look, I thought I thought we finished the game well on the scoreboard, but physically, I want us to nail the end of game and really go after the Tigers out there. So I think that's common in a round one, just getting the legs and getting the breath to go the distance, and I want to finish strong. So that's a real focus, and cohesion was good, but there were some things that we really wanted to nail there as well that could have improved. So yeah, as usual, keep building your game and nailing some things that you want to do against the opposition. Yeah, I thought that was a good start, but it was round one, so you don't set a ceiling on what you're capable of. So we want to keep pushing forward on that.
Probably goes without saying, across the weekend, conditions will be a real issue. I was surprised at the
Yeah.
completion rates and stuff in last night's game.
Yeah, so your positive mindset around the way that you want to play no matter the conditions. Are you going to compromise your style of play? Do you understand how to play in the wet, but then how do you continue to play stuff that you execute every single day, year on year, says that you should be able to do it in all conditions. So we want to continue that depending on what the weather does. We want to play our game.
Real loss of experience, obviously, with no Jake, no Angus, obviously the board's still out. That's a test of character in this side.
Yeah, I think each week in the NRL really tests your character, and having our captains out makes way for opportunity for obviously Teddy and Luke to take that role this weekend, and us to continue to build. Angus is a loss. He's been training really well. The bar's been set high. That was really disappointing, having to sort of see the standards set there, and for him to miss a week, but to risk two was too big. Yeah, let's keep moving on.
You speak to the volume of James Tedesco. We all know what he can do as a player, but how is he developing as a leader?
Yeah, he's a leader. I think Freddie made him vice captain behind Boyd. Was that 2020, and then obviously, it wasn't 19, was it? It was 2020. So James's leadership's continue to grow. We know the player he is, and I think we've always known the talent he is. Then he's become a high quality player, and how to finish big moments, and then how do you lead. That's sort of the last frontier, and he's really developed well into that and inside these walls as well. So it was natural for him and Luke to lead our team. They're strong voices, and they're high on strategy for us, so it's time for them to take that role. He's been very good. So he had symptoms on Sunday, as you would expect. He recovered well on Monday, as he has done after the concussion. So we can't take that into account too much. And I knew I'd get asked about that today, but he's got one more specialist to see, and then we'll sit down and discuss where he's at next week between coach and doctor and Jake, and look to see what's next.
So all going well then, if it goes well this last specialist point, there is a chance we're seeing you in round three, is that what you're suggesting? Or?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so yeah.
No, I'm saying we'll discuss.
Next week.
What's the next step?
The club's obviously.
Just to clarify, but are you also saying that he won't play in round three, or are you saying that's to be discussed?
Look, to be honest, we haven't made that decision. That hasn't come up. My gut feeling is he won't be playing round three.
Sorry.
I was going to say, do you have a window on how long you think this return to play management might take? Or?
No, so I guess that's the bit where I'm saying we haven't started going into those. I said my gut feel is he won't play round three, and we've got one more specialist to see. He's seen a couple already. He's got one more to see, and then we'll sit down and have those conversations. So I know people want answers Saturday night, but it's Friday afternoon, and you just need to give us a little bit more time, and we'll get our plan together for what's next for Jake.
Trent, how's Jake been in that space? I mean, a lot of the time, some of these players really have that, sort of thought, I've got to get back, I've got to do, do you guys have to remind him occasionally that, no, this is, there's more to this, there's a bigger picture? Or is he quite measured with it all?
Jake's a warrior, first and foremost, and he has been his whole career. Now he's a captain, and now a father. So you get a mix of both. He's logical now, more logical than what he was when he was a kid. And with that comes the warrior won't change in him. That will always be there. But he knows he needs to get some work done before we sit down and have a discussion.
Robert, just on a slightly different bench off that, the AFL this week brought in injury subs, and obviously, talk about concussion subs in rugby league, is there for foul play? Do you have a view on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I thought what the AFL did, so what the NRL have done this year is bring in the independent doctor within I think is it a 12-day period, 11-day, 12-day? Yeah, between the next round. So they've made a small step towards taking it out of the hands of the win and losses of the clubs to say we need to do a bit more with the players. Obviously, the AFL have got stand down the following weekend, and then it was a good example last night where Ryan Madison had to leave the field. They obviously get the interchange there, but there was pressure on Parramatta through no fault of their own. So I was thinking about it last night when I saw that, and I thought, first round of the concussion sub, would this be a place? I haven't landed on a spot, but I thought it was a very good example last night of when it possibly could be used. But I haven't landed on an opinion yet.
The fact it was foul play last night too, I mean, is that maybe just separate needs? If it's foul play and it's concussion, I don't know, just spitballing ideas?
Well, this is where it sits. People, they want the attrition of our game and that hardness of our game, and we need to protect the players. And that's where the gap in between the two, if you can't finish the game, even if it's not foul play, that's like any other injury. You just got to get on with it, and it's up to the team to make up for that loss. But on the other side, we've sort of moved into a space in the last couple of years where it's a real grey area, and people don't know what a head injury does like they do a hamstring injury. So how do we protect the game and its players? And that's, that was an example where we sit there and go, well, would that have helped every decision maker on the field, whether there was a sub, to keep a player off that actually genuinely had a head knock, and then there was a debate whether the doctor should send him back on there because of the pressure of the win or the loss. So that's up to the NRL to continue to look at.
With Jake and Angus out, obviously must bring a lot of confidence being able to bring Nat and Freddie into the starting lineup.
Yeah, Freddie's worked really hard last year to fill in that role when Sam was out, and obviously Jake was out for different periods of time. He's a year older, he's a year more mature, so I can't wait to watch him play. And then obviously Nat's he's experienced, he knows our game, he knows his game, so it's great to have him playing that bench role where he really holds that middle of the game together for us, but it's time for him to start.
Any temptation to throw Sam Walker into the mix this week, Trent?
Always a temptation. Always a temptation. He's been playing really well. Every bit of training session and the games that he's played has been outstanding. So the temptation's there, but we'll see.
How do you know when someone like Sam or Joseph, how do you know when they're ready?
Training and games, and then conversations. The maturity through the conversations, whether they're mentally going to be able to handle the rigours of first grade, not just what happens on the field, but the stuff that goes around it. And then they've got to compete. They've got to compete against guys in reserve grade, rise above those guys, and then also obviously train against the NRL guys when they're in the opposition team. They've got to excel. So, and we're seeing that.
Nice smile there. Is that an indication that there could be changes?
No, there's a few days left, and we name our 21.
Rob, if I may, on
Yeah.
the other topical point, we kept talking about the Roosters, obviously Joseph and
Yep.
getting that exemption during the week. Have you got a plan in mind in terms of how long you want to have him playing against a man in reserve grade, or just under the circumstances as far as injuries and everything?
I've been quite transparent, with the NRL about my plan, and the plan is to. There's no plan on when to play him. It is about that. There's not a, we're not going to play him before he's ready. So it's about playing him in reserve grade. Thought that was he played the trial, excelled in the trial, but needed to physically nail the game. He did better again on the weekend, and he needs to keep turning up against different reserve grade teams and keep the physicality and continuing in his game. And he's done that, but we'll keep doing that. But plus also getting him in rest when time's needed as well. So the plan's prudent, and we'll stick to it.
It's not a plan for when to play. Is there a plan on how often to play?
Yeah, there is, and that doesn't mean he'll play 24 games straight.
Yeah. So like Wade Graham suggested an idea of play 3, have one off, play 3.
Yeah, and that's been definitely discussed with Joseph and with the NRL. That's really clear about, Wade obviously played at a very young age as well, so he knows, and so that's exactly what we're going to be doing.
Just with the whole exemption, I love how in depth the NRL appeared to be with it. I mean, school teachers, parents, all the rest of it. Was there any sort of real concern from mum and dad? This might not be so good, or how did you have to win them over? Were they
Definitely not. It was the opposite to that. They've known him for 17 years, and they know they've seen his development more than anybody else, and they know he's determined and ready to play. So, there was nothing from their side.
Just on the Tigers, Trent, probably a little bit underwhelming with the ball last week, but they do have some strike weapons. You think they'll be ready to bounce back once you guys are sort of
Yes, some slight changes there in Adam coming back in at 5'8" and being able to shift the bench slightly there as well. So we'll be ready for that. We sort of, we saw how they started last weekend and how they wanted to play. It was I'd say they would have, like most teams, they would have liked some of the bits they saw, but probably not happy with their second half. So, looking forward to the game. Cool. Thanks.